Greg and I have developed a very rigorous, very scientific approach to evaluating music.
In the lab.
It's basically called the chill test. Like you're sort of waiting for that sense of, oh, wow. The show is emotional on many levels, and the way that you make that work, it's music. Spotting takes place usually the night after you've locked an episode. You play through it with the temp tracks, which at this point, 90 episodes in, we've got an awful lot of amazing music that we can use. And then we sit down and watch the show with the editor, the writer, producer, composer, and we just talk about the emotion that you're trying to evoke in any given scene.
Brotherhood soldier.
Nice, this guy come out of nowhere. Shot down my explosion, disappeared.
It felt to me, we probably wanted a slightly darker, slightly more sort of unsettling sense than the temp provides when they're pulling the sheet back and they're looking at this kind of, it's a murder scene. It's like 4 dead guys. And I'm not quite sure the temp's selling that. I think we're probably selling a little more.
We discuss where music should start and stop and what the mood should be, and we talk through the show.
It's your last chance to say goodbye.
Dramatically, what do we want to get out of a scene? How do we want to plant the different themes, and what's the music supposed to tell, and how is it supposed to guide the viewer? Music can be very powerful that way.
I guess we were feeling like we weren't getting that sense of dread, like, oh my God, what is Control going to do here?
Right.
Like that kind
Is
of
she gonna pull the trigger?
Is she really
Yeah.
going to pull the trigger? Is she really going to do this thing? I think we wanted to feel that and then feel the reaction from it after.
Sure, yeah.
It's your last chance to say goodbye.
Please, don't.
It's your last chance to say goodbye.
Please, don't.
One of the things about the show that feels very different than a lot of shows on broadcast is that it has a really epic feel and cinematic scope to it. A really strong component of that is Ramin.
Ramin had worked on Batman Begins, which I had worked on with my brother.
Jonah gave me a call and he sent me the pilot, which blew me away. He wanted a certain sound. It was a hybrid between an organic sound and an electronic sound, because there's the human aspect of it, of course, but then there's the machine. So he always wanted to play with electronic elements and sounds that sort of bridge the two worlds.
The machine is everywhere, watching us with 10,000 eyes.
Ramin so easily interprets what you're trying to get tonally, or where the shift in the scene needs to occur, or where it needs to build, and then how to bridge into the next scene. We talk about each character and the moves of every story.
When she looks through the door and she sees Greer, I felt it was too active. I wanted it to have more gravitas, like I wanted to take a breath and just go, oh my God, she found it. Like,
Yeah.
you just want to take your breath for a moment, just
Yeah,
to take
I
it
love
in
that.
and go, just a bit heavier.
The more we can make that moment land,
Yeah.
the better in terms of, it's the belly of the beast.
Because the turnaround is so fast, I don't read the script before anymore at this point. I watch it for the first time at the spotting session. The guys actually like it too, because they see my reaction as I'm watching it, because at that point, everybody else already has seen it several times, but I'm the first one to walk in completely fresh, and then I go sit in my studio and start writing away. It's still sort of a mess right now. The pieces are always work in progress, and then I finalize them towards the end, so things are started and work in progress. It's frightening every time. It's when there's that empty, it's basically like this. There's nothing in there, and then you have to start from scratch. And I have all my sounds in here. And then I record it in here, and then it just gets captured.
In the pilot, we knew we had this big cerebral sales pitch about the machine, what it was, how it came to be, that creepy sense of being watched. And there's no great-looking actor playing the machine. There's no voice, but it does have a mood. It does have a sensibility to it.
This is probably the first piece, or one of the first pieces I wrote, which is the machine theme, our main theme. So, and this is the very last scene in the pilot. And it starts out literally just with the chords, no melody yet. And it's this very somber feel, so it's this... To me, this piece just summarizes what Person of Interest is. It contains, from the very beginning of that, just those opening moody chords. To me, that's like the darker emotional background for both actually Reese and Finch. The mystery behind our two main characters. And then it gets going. So the strings will play that same motif, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and then the cello will start playing the melody.
First time we heard that piece of music on the end of the show, which is a huge moment. I mean, for us, endings are everything, right? If you can go to black with that sense of scale and urgency and mystique, you're there. And Ramin had managed to nail that right out of the gate. I don't think we ever had any notes on the machine theme because it was, you just put it to picture and that was it.
So tell me, how does it feel knowing that you're responsible for your friend's death?
Fine. Although I think that the temp here is not quite doing all it could be. You sort of want to play that, let that, maybe ring out a little bit, but play the truth of that moment. Mm-hmm. And then Elias starts laughing, and that grates in. It's like he sort of takes control of a little more. The joke's on all of us.
And we could even combine Brotherhood and Elias themes somehow.
Yeah,
like, to get that clash.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
I think, yeah.
Great.
What's really fun in the show is in the spotted session, we play with the ideas of which theme should play where. You have a motif or a melody that gets associated with a character or a plot, and you associate it with that person, and it helps tell story with music. That was the Brotherhood theme. That's the scene where Elias is captured.
Who's your informant?
Ramin is constantly writing new pieces of material. I remember we introduced the Brotherhood this year, and right out of the gate, we're like, we really like it, but I just feel like it needs a little more menacing. And Ramin just went right back and came back with something else.
So what's this Egyptian guy have to do with my DOA?
Felix was in a gang called the Brotherhood.
The very first time we talked about the theme, I think I didn't realize that, okay, this is like a big part of this season, and the older version was just a much more insignificant piece of music.
What about the kid?
We just had to make sure that we come up with something that's a lot hookier, that's instantly recognizable.
Now I get to the point where if anyone from the Brotherhood comes on the screen, it's like, I want to hear that score. I need to hear that score louder. It needs to be bigger here and more ominous, and then it just becomes its own thing.
Where's your boss?
You just met him.
There's several character themes in the show. Reese actually has two themes. One is his investigative theme when he's out there looking around and investigating. Then there's his, that we call the kick-ass theme when he runs around with rocket launchers and things like that. And then we have this over-the-top action theme that's very electronic and guitar-driven. He's such a tough guy, but when we touch upon his emotional side, it's always nice to see his feelings. In the pilot, we actually used a nylon string guitar with strings. And in this season, several times too, we even see the picture of his girlfriend, so it's nice to call back to the music again and bring actually that guitar back.
Finch's theme is kind of bound up with the Machines theme. They're sort of flip sides of the same coin. The music really has to speak to his kind of arm's length relationship with humanity and the rest of the world.
Excellent.
He was always just the guy that did not come out of the library in the beginning. He was always just the mastermind behind the computer. And so we had to evolve his theme, also making it more investigative, because all of a sudden he was out on the streets and doing things. There's also many times when he gets into these quirky situations.
My name is Professor Whistler.
With him, it's been fun to make the music really light. So even all the way to having the music played with pizzicato strings, so that it gets just bouncy and fun.
All right, then.
It's so unique and tailored, whether it's Elias or Brotherhood or Machine Q or Reese or Finch or any of our characters, you start to fall in love with their themes.
The fun thing about being in season 4 now is that we have these established themes, and you have to evolve with what those characters are doing and plot-wise what's happening. So with Shaw, who we have always seen as such a edgy, tough character.
Please help us. Please.
Now that she's gone, is this much more emotional side now. So we're calling back to her theme just to remind us, you know, they're looking for her, like there's still hope for her. So we have to play her theme in a much more emotional way now.
Sierra.
Tango.
Stop.
Papa.
So this is the scene where Root discovers Greer.
You need to leave Harold now.
Not without you, Ms. Groves.
You don't have a choice. This is Samaritan's base of operations. We're in the belly of the beast. You need to leave Harold now.
Not without you, Ms. Groves.
You don't have a choice. This is Samaritan's base of operations. We're in the belly of the beast.
This one is actually a good example where we get Samaritan, which is the inversion of the machine theme, where the machine theme goes. And then Samaritan is the other way around. So it's literally, you have the opposite, so that's kind of the musical idea behind it, to show these two really powerful computer opponents. Obviously, that has become a huge part now of the season, and that threat is always looming. So many times in the episode, we don't get so much the machine theme anymore, but we get more of the Samaritan, because that's just so much more dominant now.
I feel like it's right at the end of the show. The cue's not quite getting where it needs to be. It's not more of a build. It just feels a little tiny bit limp right at the end. Like it needs just a little more of a sense of,
Sure, yeah.
we're in a very bad place, but it's very exciting. Denise is gonna kill everyone.
Yeah. Excellent.
Good stuff.
Very good, yeah. Really, really good stuff. All right.
Thanks, Ramin.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It'll be done tomorrow.
Yeah, you're a busy guy right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
No sleep for me.
No sleep for you. I'm sorry.
Once that's all done, we go and score the pieces with a full string section. All the strings always get replaced with the real orchestra, which is amazing to be able to do that. Yeah, so we finished the music and went to orchestration, which was done overnight, basically. And now here we have the music we're gonna record today. These are all the pieces.
Good morning, everyone. Always a pleasure to have Mr. Ramin Djawadi with us, our composer. I'll turn it over to Stephen.
You get goosebumps every time. It's just, that to me, that's always the most fun part, to see the music come to life, played by actual musicians.
Irene, you want to go in order?
Yeah, 1M7.
1M7? Okay. Hi, everybody. 1M7.
Having a show with live instrumentation just makes it feel that much different or special. It's so readily apparent to me now, the fullness of the show and the breadth of the show, and how it makes it just feel that much more exciting and sort of epic.
whenever we have that eighth note break, can we actually make the note before longer so it's dee-da, dee-da, ba-ba, dee-da, dee-da.
Short, long, short,
yeah,
long, short,
exactly.
long, short, long.
It's almost always the strings. The strings are the most important part. They're such a key component of the emotional aspect of the music that when you're hearing the real thing, there's just no substitute for it. It's that extra level underneath everything else. You just feel it on that scale.
Good? Cool. Happy? Happy. Okay.
Very happy. Thank you.
At the end of 421, you also had a chance to build the Machine and Samaritan themes coming in collision. This is really the first moment in which Samaritan and the Machine have interacted directly with each other.
You know, it's interesting, actually, the last piece, a little bit, is based on the original Machine theme, you know, and then it kind of has to obviously evolve into, you know, what the scene is, but part of it's actually from the original piece.
You are talking about two artificial intelligences talking to each other, not necessarily instantly emotional moments. So one of the things we knew going into that episode where the music would really have to come in and underline that sense of emotion, selling the kind of drama and scale of these two ethereal intelligences talking to each other was something left almost entirely in Ramin's hands.
In a show like Person of Interest, where we have electronics, we have strings, just being able to go in and come up with interesting colors and melodies, it's just a great thing to do.
Ramin gives you that sense of scale and grandeur and excitement where you just can't wait to hear that piece of music again.